let's go ahead and let's watch this. Let's watch
This is Arc Raiders during its
hold on, hold
conceptual
on, hold
phase of
on, bro.
development
Chill,
back in
chill. Let me
2019.
pause, bro. Holy crap. I don't know how many times I just clicked pause. All right, Arc Raiders wild 6-year development cycle. I've been playing Arc Raiders. I played Arc Raiders over this server slam they had this last weekend, and I've been following Arc Raiders relatively close to when they had the last tech tests. I love the game. I absolutely can't get enough of the game. I'm just counting down the days till the 30th, which as a matter of fact is only 7 more days. Let's go. I everything about this game just intrigues me. Everything about this company intrigues me. I mean, the first game that they made, the finals, was an absolute banger. I have not been able to take my eyes off that game. That game is just, it's a work of art. This game is just beautiful, and I'm excited to see like the full release of content on the 30th. So yeah, I'm super excited to see how this game goes, to see how like the team will take this game further down the its lifeline and whatnot. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and watch the development cycle. Arc Raiders 6-year development cycle. Let's do it.
This is Arc Raiders during its conceptual phase of development back in
Do you want a full
2019. The
screen, bro?
footage you're
Thank you.
seeing was one of the first things the studio made after being founded just 3 months prior. And while the demo itself looked great, the most important part is the studio behind the game, Embark Studios. The studio was formed in late
Embark, baby.
2018 by ex-DICE leadership due to a lack of creative control on the Battlefield franchise. They were tired of being forced to make just one project.
Right when Battlefield started going downhill. Convince me otherwise. Convince me otherwise. I don't care. Maybe you can say that Battlefield 5 was good. It was alright. 2042. I enjoyed it. It was okay. But genuinely, you're not going to get anything like the old Battlefield, bro. And to take the team that was working on the old Battlefield and to have them leave because they were not allowed to have the creative freedoms that they want in that game, and to move to a different game, I'm all for it, bro. Go make your own game, and I will play the freaking crap out of it, dude.
Year after year. And when I say ex-DICE leadership, I mean a majority of key decision makers at DICE, including the CEO of DICE, audio and art directors, and many other key development veterans. This development story is one that I've never quite had an opportunity of learning about until now. Throughout the development of the game, if at any point EA got their hands on this studio and the game, it would never see the light of day.
Yeah,
This
we would
is
be.
the story of Arc Raiders and how
Dude, if EA got their hands on Arc Raiders, like genuinely, this game would not. I don't even. It probably wouldn't even be an extraction shooter. To be for real, like 100%. I mean, it didn't start out as an extraction shooter. It probably wouldn't even be anything that it actually came out to be. It would be a corporate, freaking synthetic piece of trash. And pretty much it. That's all EA is putting out these days.
a studio born from
Well, all EA was putting out. They just sold their company to a, was it Saudi Arabian? I believe a Saudi Arabian company. I could be wrong, but I believe it was a Saudi Arabian company. So the future of EA has, geez, only God knows what the future of EA is. But yeah, no, EA definitely needed some kind of turning point, and if selling it to Saudi Arabia is going to be the turning point, then I'm all here for it. But I don't know how much help that's actually going to be.
AAA failures redefined how a game is made.
I am Wasabi. Such a beautiful game, like genuinely. And I only played the damn map. The damn map. The damn Battlegrounds map. I only played the damn Battlegrounds map. And like, it had me blown away. I am so excited to see what the other maps have in store for us. Another ad, bro? Jeez.
Late nights and early mornings.
Why do I actually like the song in this ad, though? Embarking a new path. I just got that.
Of Embark Studios, under the corporate umbrella of EA, felt constrained by the business and production models of large AAA development. Many core developers were tired.
I'm sorry, is that EA's? Is that EA's logo?
Of EA,
Or
felt constrained by the
is that EA's slogan? Connect your future to ours. Inspire, dream, and play. That is the most corporate BS I've ever heard in my life. Like, actually, if you're going to come up with like a corporate slogan that you want to like just make yourself like the douchiest possible corporation out there, this is it right there. Connect your future to ours. Like I don't if that doesn't make me like cringe anymore, I don't know what can. Connect your future to our future. Our future as a company. Connect your future to our future as a company. It just seems ridiculous. Like I don't know. Let us connect our future to your future or something. Maybe I'm being over dramatic. Maybe I'm actually just looking too deep into it. But it just seems like nobody wants to have the same future as EA. Nobody wants what EA wants. We want what we want. And to say connect your future to ours just makes it seem like you don't have a future that we want. You don't have a future that we are, excited for. It just doesn't seem like they prioritize their people over their games or their company or anything like that.
Business and producers were tired of making Battlefield all the time and wanted to create a new original title.
Hopefully I made a decent point with that because I kind of just started talking gibberish, but I'm sure people understood what I meant.
One that left the mold of Battlefield. Patrick Sutherland, the CEO of DICE, mentioned that when facing pressure to deliver a game on time, the common solution was to just put more people on it. This resulted in teams of 900 people, a process he called counterproductive to efficiency and to controlling quality. So, in late 2018 to early 2019, Patrick, alongside 5 industry veterans, left DICE and created Embark Studios in Stockholm, Sweden, just down the street from DICE. A significant but undisclosed portion of these early hires were veteran developers and executives from DICE and other parts of EA who were drawn to the new studio's mission. Their mission stemmed from the belief that large AAA development had become stagnant and creatively stifled, prioritizing safe sequels and franchises over new ideas.
Genuinely, all a company wants is just a good algorithm to work with, and whenever you stick with the same algorithm over and over and over and over again, it becomes dry. It just becomes useless, and you can't have new games that are coming out, new titles that are coming out, and that are blowing up the market if it's just the exact same reskin of a different game. It's ridiculous. Another thing, I genuinely don't think I've ever played any games better than when a game is made by a small team of developers. Like like genuinely, I don't think, besides maybe like some Rockstar games and some Elden Ring. Was Elden Ring made by a large group? Elden, for the life of me, I couldn't tell you. Elden Ring could have made by a small group. I wouldn't even know. So I'm gonna leave that out of the example for now. But games like just games that have a small group of people who are passionate about the project, and not a group of 900 to 1,000 people who are just doing it to get the money. A group of people who are passionate about the project, who have a vision for what they want the project to be, and who all work together to execute that project. You're gonna get a banger game. Like, you're genuinely going to get a much better game than when you have 1,000 people just trying to work on a game that functions properly. Because you're going to have all these ins and outs, you're going to have all these mixed ideas, you're going to have all this running through everybody. Nothing is going to work the way it would as if you had a group of 10, 20 people who were on the exact same page about the exact same game that they wanted to play, and, it's common sense. It really is. It's just common sense. Like, putting more people on a game is not going to fix the game. It's just going to make the game more suitable for everybody. If that makes sense, more, you understand.
And this is a not so uncommon belief from those in leadership positions at big companies. I mean, just take a look at the story behind Expedition 33, where the same thing.
This is exactly what I was going to use as an example. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What is your name? Gualme Brosh? I really hope I pronounced that right. Thank you so much for bringing this up. I hope this is you who brought this up. Expedition 33 was made by a small team of people who were passionate about the project, who were absolutely passionate about this project, and it turned out to be one of my favorite games of all time, like, genuinely. Unfortunately, I have not beat the game. I've ran through the game 3 times, and each time I've run into an unfortunate glitch. I don't care. The game is still in my top 10, top 5 maybe, for video games that I played of all time. it is such a beautiful game, and the reason it is so beautiful is because it comes from the heart. It came from people who knew what they were doing, who knew what they wanted, not just, hey, I want to make money, this is my job, I have to do this. People who were like, I want people to have an experience, I want people to experience what I am making, not just I want people to buy what I am making. And that's where it all really, like, in my opinion, that's where the line gets drawn, is whenever you want to make a video game for profit, and when you want to make a video game for art, because those two are two different things. Art and profit, they can go hand in hand, but most of the time they don't, unfortunately.
Happened, just a couple of developers left Ubisoft due to the same exact reasons. Not only did Embark Studios now have the creative freedom to make whatever game they wanted, they also had technical freedom as well. You may have seen videos like this one, where AI agents teach themselves how to behave. Well, Embark Studios decided to experiment with this idea and take it to the next level. They used the same reinforcement learning techniques on their AI bots in gaming. The enemies in the final version of Arc Raiders we see were not hand animated by animators, but were taught how to move. And this is just one of the many technical innovations made by Embark Studios. In fact, to date, Embark Studios has not only continued to make technical innovations, but they've also open sourced a fair amount of their work for the entire gaming industry to benefit from.
That I did not know. That is huge. That is actually huge. Props to them for doing that. What a team. That is crazy. But also, that is one thing that I love the most about Arc Raiders, and the 3-day test that I did, the 3-day little demo that I got of 10% of the game's worth, was just absolutely blew me away. It absolutely blew me away. And I think one of the most contributing factors to that was just the environment and the actual like enemies themselves, the actual like robots in the Arc just made the game feel so much more lively. See, when you have like a game with NPCs, and I heard somebody touch upon this, and if I can find their channel and who exactly said it, I would love to tag them down below. But when you have a game that reuses the exact same, familiarities that we're used to or whatever, like humans as enemies, it becomes generic. It becomes boring, because we already know what humans are going to do. We know how humans act. We know how NPCs act. We know how they should act. So when they're not acting like that, it breaks the immersion. But when you have something like robots and AI who are genuinely using AI to keep themselves up and keep themselves moving and keep themselves operating and stuff like that, you get this sense of realism. You get this sense of, wow, this could actually be a robot doing robot things in this game, and it just seems real. It adds another layer to the what's it called? To the immersion. So yeah, props to them for that. That is an absolutely amazing touch. I think if they would have just like, programmed their NPCs to move about like robots, the game would have been dead. The game would have been dead the minute it got brought up. Like genuinely, I don't think there would have been any hope for this game. The fact that they actually like used AI to program everything and like put it through different circumstances in order to get the product that they wanted in the end makes it so much better, makes it so much more convincing, and overall just makes it like an experience. Honestly, just makes it an experience.
They are quite literally a tech company at heart that specializes in game development. So much so that back in 2019, they gave a talk during Google's Cloud Summit in Stockholm. With funding from Nexon, by February of 2019, Embark Studios had hired over 50 developers. The gaming studio was also now a
Is that their studio? Is that like genuinely actually their studio where they work in Embark? One sec, I want to look this up. Okay, I cannot find one thing on it. All right, never
tech
mind.
company.
Look, if that is where they do all their work inside that freaking Greek Colosseum, beautiful looking piece of art, that is incredible, bro. I would love to go there for work every single day, to walk in through those doors every single day, to see that type of architecture every single day. That looks beautiful. And for a gaming company, dude, come on.
But it was time to put their skills to the test, building an actual game. But before I continue, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and subscribe to this
I will
channel.
like it. I'm not
Both are
gonna lie.
free and help me make more content just like
I'll go ahead and give you a
this.
like. Very informative video. Alright, chapter 2, Pioneering Discovery. Dude, videos like this interest me beyond all comprehension, like genuinely. I'm gonna take this ad time to talk for a second. I genuinely, well, never mind, alright.
After newly formed Embark Studios increased their headcount, they immediately began prototyping 2 new games alongside their technical experiments. Arc Raiders, codenamed Project Pioneer, and The Finals, codenamed Project Discovery. Arc Raiders began the prototyping phase as a cooperative, free-to-play action game set in a distant, futuristic world. Within just 3 months of the studio being formed, they already had beautiful concept arts and in-engine tests. Everything in this clip was created by 3 people over 3 weeks using real-world scanned data. Throughout 2019, the teams kept making prototypes and concept arts for both titles. The Arc Raiders team moved past the prototyping stage and into full production in the spring of 2020. At this point, Arc Raiders was their primary project, with The Finals being a secondary project. The team was focused entirely on realizing the original vision of Arc Raiders, a free-to-play, co-op, PvE action game where players work together to fight massive mechanical enemies.
Oh, so this game was supposed to be free to play in the beginning, huh? I think I heard something about that. I actually think I did hear. Is this Helldivers? I think I heard something about that it was supposed to be free to play in the beginning. But I guess with the way that they've gone with this game, making it free to play would honestly ruin the game. I think being a free to play extraction shooter would honestly ruin the game, because you would have so many people coming to the game who didn't even know the first thing about the game going into an extraction shooter. And free to play games all the time are drawing people. Like, everybody wants to try something new, so they're going to go for a free game, you know? If I'm going to pick up a free extraction shooter and not know what to do with it, like, I'm going to be horrible with it, you know? So I think making it, like, having a paywall and having people who actually want to play the game having to pay for it makes the game a little bit better, because you don't have all these people flooding into a game not knowing what the heck they're doing, you know? And it just makes the game more catered towards people who actually want to play the game.
Game akin to Helldivers 2.
Oh.
And just as Arc Raiders began full production, the pandemic hit the world and negatively impacted most gaming studios. Embark, like most studios, transitioned to the remote working model. However, unlike large monolithic AAA projects, which often struggled heavily during the pandemic, Embark's smaller, technologically nimble structure allowed it to continue its work and quickly adapt to the changes in the world. This technological advantage was driven by their philosophy of automating content creation. During the pandemic, Embark's R&D team developed and fully implemented a fully proprietary tool for one-click photogrammetry. This in-house tool allowed artists to fully automate the process of turning high-resolution scan data of real-world objects into finished, game-ready assets in just minutes.
Wow. That's something that I did not know. That is something that I was actually unaware of. They used real-world assets, real-world, like, terrain and stuff for their maps, for their game. I'm assuming is what he's getting to. I could be totally wrong. It could be they scrapped that idea eventually, but if that's true, that's actually insane. That's really cool. That is a really neat touch.
At a traditional AAA studio, this process alone would take days. This dramatically increases the speed and fidelity of environmental assets being poured into the Arc Raiders world. By November 2020, CEO Patrick Sutherland noted that the studio was still growing and was close to 200 people now. Embark wasn't slowing down during the pandemic. They were actually speeding up drastically. And at this point, this is what Arc Raiders looked like. And for a studio that had just started a bit over a year at this point, it's a bit crazy for the game to look this good. Embark had also been doing in-studio tests of the game every single day for well over a year at this point.
Listen,
All right.
$14.99 a month for a streaming
No,
app.
it doesn't even
and
warn you when the ads come
$9.99
up
a month
anymore,
for a
does it?
music app, and
Didn't it used to do that?
$12.99
Didn't it
for-
have like a 3, 2, 1 countdown before the ads would come up? Like ad in 3, 2. Well, I don't even think it does that anymore.
But they also began working on an early, unfinished build of the game that they can put in front of people outside the studio to gather feedback and insights on how the game plays. The rest of 2020 was spent refining their tech and continuing to build out their game. Within the early months of 2021, the
Look, bro, like
build
genuinely.
out their game.
Hold on one sec.
Within
Like this right here is what I'm excited for, because you have a game that already has infinite creative potential, and you already have a team who wants to give it infinite creative potential, and then you have stuff like this. Like this concept art. There's a bug on my screen. He actually just will not get off my screen. What the hell? You have this kind of concept art, which is just like just beautiful, like out of this world type stuff. Like you have a rocket ship being taken over by like greenery and stuff. You have like this. What would that be called? What is that called again? It's like a not solar pumped, because solar punk isn't necessarily. I don't. There's like a there's like an aesthetic called eco brutalism. Eco brutalism, I believe, is what it is. I could be completely off on that, but I believe it's eco brutalism, and it's basically large, very like just very big mega structures, or like cement structures, just very big like city-like structures being taken over by the by greenery and being taken back by earth and stuff like that. And I just think seeing that in video games is mwah, that is the chef's kiss right there. That is beautiful to have stuff like this, because I don't know, that is like one of my favorite aesthetics right there. It's just that eco brutalism, whatever you want to call it. I think it's just amazing. But what I'm trying to get at is, imagine how much stuff they could be doing with this. Imagine how creative they could get with this. Imagine how many new maps they could be making, and like what could be in store for the future of this game. Like this game is an extraction shooter, and it most likely will always stay an extraction shooter. But imagine how much they could evolve it with the format of an extraction shooter. Like there's just infinite possibilities from a team who wants to give it infinite, outcomes. And I think it's so beautiful to see. I am beyond excited.
In the early months of 2021, the quality bar of their machine learning robots that learned how to walk within a game world was achieved, and multiple AI enemies were added into the game. Both Arc Raiders and the finals were rapidly approaching their targets, so it was time to reveal the game to the world. During the Game Awards in 2021, we got our first glimpse at what Embark Studios had been working on since the studio's formation, and the gaming industry loved it. This was during a time in the history of gaming where the top games were dominated by battle royales and everybody was sick of them. And here comes a free-to-play, purely cooperative third-person shooter, built by the teams who made Battlefield.
What more could you ask
The game
for?
was set to release in 2022, and everything was going perfectly so far, until the feedback started coming in. There was a giant problem with the game that internal teams at Embark had terribly missed.
I will get to it in a second. I'm sorry, did I just see a jetpack?
Going perfectly so far, until
Did I just see a
the
jetpack?
feedback
Is
started
that,
coming
what
in.
is he doing in the air like that? Okay, I heard something about a jetpack being added in later like later game, that would be legendary to have like a hoverpack or a jetpack on top of, I mean, we already have a grapple hook, like you can't get too much crazier than a grapple hook. Like a jetpack would be relatively it'd be on the table,
There was a giant problem with the game that internal teams
Their feedback,
at
yeah, okay, get to it. Chapter 3. To P or non to P? Okay.
Early builds of Arc Raiders didn't quite feel as fun to play as the original 2021 announcement
Yo, this
trailer
looks crazy.
indicated that it would. But we came to the conclusion after quite a long time. Guys, this game is not fun, said Patrick Sutherland. It was with this delay that the decision was made to turn what was originally going to be a PvE game into a PvPvE game. But the real question was how? Well, fortunately for Embark, this was right around the time that their former employer, EA, released Battlefield 2042 to catastrophic failure. And after the hellish development of that game, EA decided to completely restructure DICE and every studio that was working on Battlefield, including the incredibly talented developers and leaders that still remained at DICE.
All right, bro.
Since at this point, Embark was a refugee away from big AAA developers, they naturally and very smartly scooped up those who left DICE, including executive producer Alexander Gründahl, who was brought into the team in the last 6 months of its development. It took me a long time to understand what we were even trying to do, he said. When it came to looking at earlier builds of Arc Raiders, there was moments of fun, but it doesn't consistently gel. While CEO Patrick Sutherland said, guys, this game is not fun, Gründahl provided a more nuanced explanation of why the pure PvE game was failing and how to fix it. The fix to make the game more fun involved adding a PvP element to the game. It's also something a lot of Embark's founding developers swore they would never do.
Yeah, that's super weird to me too. And one of the most controversial things about this that I've seen is the PvP being added. And yeah, it seems to be like a huge change for the game and a good change at that, but the most negative feedback I've been seeing about this game is the actual PvP. Well, under the actual people, COD players just getting into the game and not knowing how to shoot the boss weak points and complaining about it online. That's the most I've been hearing about it. But under that, the PvP, the PvPvE, the PvEPV, whatever, holy crap, however you want to say it, that has been what I've seen getting the most controversy underneath, the bots. But it's weird that that seems to be what uplifted their game almost to an extent.
After leaving EA and DICE due to being tired of PvP. But if they wanted the game to actually be fun, they had to do something. So the entirety of 2022 was spent on redefining the core gameplay loop. Adding PvP to the game made the gameplay way more variable. With PvP, when you see another raider chased by a swarm of arc drones, do you go in for a kill? Do you lend a helping hand? Or do you hold back and feast on the valuable remains? Meanwhile, the development of their secondary title, Project Discovery, aka The Finals, was progressing extremely rapidly due to the technical choices made at Embark. Normally, in a large studio with hundreds of moving parts, this is the point in the project where it would either be cancelled or released as is.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna see if I can find a video on the early development cycle of the finals, because that is something that I would be absolutely intrigued out of my mind by. I'll probably do that in another video here soon, but expect that very soon, because seeing this video and seeing the the premature footage of the finals and stuff like that really interests me. Really, I mean, I want to end this video almost and go watch the the finals development cycle, but I am extremely intrigued by this as well.
No corporation or publisher would want to spend their money on actually fixing the game. But in this case, the call was made to delay Arc Raiders to 2023 while the teams worked on the new PvP aspect. And since their second project, the finals, was progressing so well, the teams decided to switch the priority of the two projects. It was a win-win for Embark. They would be able to push out the finals faster, and Arc Raiders would get the attention and development.
What are we watching? Bro, I responded to your comments so late, so sorry about that. Udaro. Is that how you say your name? I appreciate the follow, man. We're actually just watching a lot of stuff, to be honest. Right now we're watching Arc Raiders Wild 6-year development cycle. Essentially the early development cycle of Arc Raiders. I don't know why I had to preface the freaking, it is what it is. We're just watching the early stages of Arc Raiders and what the team was doing, basically like the history of the team and whatnot. Are you on Firefox? No, I'm on, this is not Firefox, is it? Wait, what is this? Dude, bro, that's sad that I don't even know what application I use. But, might be Firefox. What is this? Microsoft Edge. My bad. Yeah, I'm not familiar with my my web browsers. So sorry. Microsoft Edge. Jeez. All right, let's continue.
Time it needed. In
Putting full
early
screen it for y'all. I have
2023,
not had
the
it full screen
focus
this
would
entire time.
shift to the finals, while the team worked on the changes to Arc Raiders. And by May of 2023, Arc Raiders had taken the shape of what Embark Studios believed to be a truly promising PvPvE survival extraction shooter. A game that stays true to the original Arc Raiders universe, and more importantly, a game that they were having immense fun with internally. But it was time to find out if the changes they had made were actually fun, with the most important test: putting Arc Raiders in the hands of gamers.
Bro. Oh. Chapter 4. The Verdict.
Every Monday and Tuesday, the NBA
Brother.
is on NBC and Peacock. 2 nights of
After the successful release of the finals at the end of 2023, focus shifted back to Arc Raiders. The next step for Embark Studios would be to perform a closed alpha test to get feedback on the game's core systems and loops. As Embark began letting players into the test builds, the feedback became positive about the new direction.
I think they really have. I genuinely think they have something really cool here.
You know,
I think your average.
I never followed Shroud, and in my honest opinion, I never really liked Shroud until as of recently. I started watching a lot of his playthroughs and a lot of his playthroughs. I'm sorry, not playthroughs. I started watching a lot of his videos on Arc Raiders and stuff like that. He's genuinely funny. He is genuinely like, and he's cracked, dude. He is actually insane. I've never, like, dude, this guy's been playing on mouse and keyboard since 3. He's had a mouse and keyboard in his hand since 3. Excuse me? Like, that is some insane. That's just insane. I don't even understand. But yeah, I like him. He's pretty cool. And now my video won't load.
Your average player doesn't give a fuck that it's an extraction game. They're gonna come in, they're gonna take a free kit, and they're gonna have an amazing journey. They're gonna play 1 or 2 raids. Who cares? Who cares about the extraction part? It's not even about that.
Like, genuinely.
Just experiencing the game is incredible. I don't know how to explain it. The atmosphere, the sound design.
While a lot of players who were originally excited for the original version of Arc Raiders had reserved thoughts of the game, now including PvP, it absolutely didn't discount the fact that PvE and AI elements still remained a difficult and significant threat. By mid-2024, it was pretty clear that the direction they were taking Arc Raiders was the correct choice. The game was actually great now that PvP was introduced, but this genre change also went against the free-to-play model that Embark had originally envisioned for the game.
Yeah. I'll probably get into what I was talking about.
In 2024, Embark officially announced that Arc Raiders would no longer be a free-to-play title. Instead, it was shifting to a $40 premium price point upon release in 2025. Executive producers on the title explained that this change was necessary because the premium model was a better fit for the experience they're building. It allowed the team to focus on creating an engaging, balanced, and replayable action survival experience, without the pressures of having to constantly design content to juice players for more money, as is often required by the free-to-play model. With the genre and
Okay, so going back to what I said earlier about how it would be very nice, and probably the reason they made it not free to play was so that they have a player base who actually wants to play the game and who actually has to pay money if they even want to, you know, get into the game, which means that you would have to have a reason to want to play the game, you know, making all the players, you know, relatively good at the game. I don't think that's the case. That could be very well one of the reasons, but like he just said here, Yeah, no, there's none of that Fortnite BS where it's like every month there's like 3 new battle passes and like a Fortnite crew and all that BS. It's genuinely like you can get everything, excuse me, you can get everything out of the battle pass in this game just by playing the game. Like just by playing the game, you earn points, you get little like tokens, whatever, you get to buy the stuff out of the battle pass. Now you can pay for the game, you can pay and make your experience go by faster, you can make it quicker. I don't see why people would do that. I really don't, because genuinely the game itself is so fun to grind that the experience you would just be missing. Like you wouldn't even get the experience if you're just buying, levels. I think it's pointless. But yes, seeing as they don't want to have to keep up with the free to play algorithm and whatever and have to come out with purchasable content every 2 weeks, will probably make this game an indescribable amount better, because you don't have, money hungry money hungry corporation side of things trying to take over. Why does it do this?
Business model settled.
It takes like 5 minutes to
Embark
load
began
after I
allowing
press
the
it.
public to test the core experience. Embark launched its first public technical test in late 2024 on Steam for invited playtesters. The purpose was to
And I wish for the life of me that I got to play this. I wanted to sign up so bad, and I did sign up. I just signed up too late. Yeah, very unfortunate. I wanted to play this so bad. This would have been a dream to actually have played the tech test, the early tech test. Luckily, I got to play the little 3-day server slam that they did. But if I got to play like the earlier tech test and see like the earlier version of the game, I would have creamed. I don't even care.
assess the game's new PvPvE core loop with a bigger group and gather community feedback ahead of its 2025 release window. The test further confirmed that the redesign was working, as the feedback was overwhelmingly positive.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube.
Y'all are really, really, really trying to convince me to get YouTube
Background
Premium.
play.
I'm about there. One more ad, I swear.
And just 6 months later, another technical test was planned. Tech Test 2, which ran from April to May. This was a critical, large-scale public playtest. It was the first time console players were introduced alongside PC players.
Okay, so I wouldn't have even been able to play the first tech test. The tech test 2 is the one that I wanted to get into. The one that I unfortunately was not able to get into, and it was unfortunately the only one that they had available for console players. So that sucks, but it is what it is. I get all the video footage of it. I get to see people play it, and the game, I'm getting it anyways. I'm going to be able to play the full version of the game, so it's not like I'm not a true fan.
The team used this test to gather massive amounts of data on cross-platform performance, combat balance, and the complexity of the crafting systems, as well as player progression. The feedback from this test, just like the first test, was overwhelmingly positive, validating the pivot even further. The teams at Embark were absolutely booming with excitement since their project that they had spent the last 6 years building had finally achieved their last milestone. Gamers' praise and anticipation. In June of 2025, they finally set the release date in stone, October 30th. Executive producer Alexander Grundahl emphasized that Technical Test 2 gave them the best rehearsal needed for the final stretch of polish. Funny enough, down the street from them at DICE and EA, the teams were simultaneously putting the finishing touches on Battlefield 6. And someone discovered that if you mention Arc Raiders in the EA app's messaging system...
Yep, I saw this. I just saw this the other day. We're going to get to this in a second. I'm going to go off on this because I think this is hilarious. But I will say, Battlefield 6 is it's a very well-rounded, enjoyable game. Would I say it's like the old Battlefields? No. Would I say it's almost a reskin? Maybe. I think it's very well balanced for what it is. I think it's honestly a very, very fun game. Worth the $70. I got it for $60. I would say maybe if you cut $10 off of that, maybe it's worth it. But I don't know. $70 is a bit much for another Battlefield game, But let us continue.
It would immediately be censored. It didn't censor any other franchises like
That's hilarious. I think that's hilarious. And that was both on Call of Duty and Battlefield, I believe. If I'm not wrong. I believe actually if you type Arc Raiders into Call of Duty or Battlefield game chat, it completely censors it out, which is just hilarious. Like, what people are getting at is that EA and Call of Duty and whatever, like they sense a sense of competition so much to the point where they have to, block Arc Raiders from ever being, spread throughout their game. They don't want other players getting hooked on Arc Raiders rather than Battlefield. It's hilarious. It's absolutely funny. I don't think it's like the worst thing a company could do. I think it's a little petty, but it's honestly stupid when you get down to the base of it.
Like GTA or Call of Duty, only Arc Raiders.
Like,
EA did not want this game to succeed. This transparent attempt to silence a competitor, which I interpret as sour grapes following the high-profile departure of key DICE talent, only provided Embark with a massive free publicity game.
True. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it was Call of Duty that also did it. I'm pretty sure that if you type it into the Call of Duty chats, it no longer allows you to say Arc Raiders in the Call of Duty chats. I could be totally wrong. It could have only been Battlefield, and it could just be EA, DICE being like, little douchebags. But as far as I'm aware, it happened with Call of Duty too. So I think maybe they're just scared of Arc Raiders stealing the thunder forever or something like that. Which, don't get me wrong, I love Arc Raiders, and I think it's an absolutely beautiful piece of work. Do I think it's ever going to take over like the mainstream games that we have today? No, I think it's always going to stay a very niche game, and I think it will always have relatively a niche following. But I think that, hopefully, fingers crossed, I think that is what is really going to make the game stand out, is its niche following, and is its, player base that really loves the game and is passionate about the game and wants to see it expand, rather than, a bajillion kids who get on the game every day to, buy the new skin in the item shop.
Thankfully, Arc Raiders had something better than publisher backing: a great game. The positive feedback from the tech tests ensured it was already one of the most wishlisted games on Steam. Embark Studios brilliantly captured on the mishap, posting this on their social media.
This is hilarious. I love this. I was gonna say this to Livy the other day, my girlfriend. I honestly don't think she even cared when I said it to her, but this is like legitimately the funniest thing on earth. They posted this to their X account, genuinely, because of the backlash that they were getting from EA and not being able to, say Arc Raiders in the game chat. We're still on track to release on October 30th. It's just a freaking hilarious get back. Like, why not? Of course, why not? I just think it's comical. It's just ridiculously comical. And obviously, I don't think Livy would get it. I don't think Livy would necessarily understand that. But if she did, I think she'd find it funny. I just think it's hilarious.
This move cemented Embark's reputation as the player-focused underdog, while confirming that the long, winding road of development, marked by delays, genre changes, and brutal self-assessment, had finally delivered a title ready to stand toe-in-toe with the industry's giants. They weren't scared of EA. EA was scared of them, and they had the player numbers to prove it. As of recording this, the game is about to release. And if the Server Slam numbers are any indication of the success of this game, it'll be an incredibly successful launch for Embark Studios.
I hope it is. I really hope it is.
They've poured so much effort into this game, gave back to the gaming industry with technical innovations, and broke free of the norms set by the giant publishers. Good luck with the launch, Embark Studios. Everybody's rooting for you and your success. And if you want to know what happened to DICE and Battlefield after the loss of the great talent at DICE, I made a video going over.
Oh my gosh, I might just watch this right here. Hold on, let me add this to my watch later. All right, anyways, that was a great video. Yo, calm down, please. Let me pause. That was a great video. That was a very, very beautiful, informative video. A lot of that stuff I actually did know. A lot of that stuff I was aware of. A lot of it I also didn't know. So it's good to see a lot of, new facts, new factors to the early development cycles of this game, a game which I am so dearly attached to. But yeah, I'm so excited for this game. I'm so excited for everything in the future, and for what this studio is going to be doing, this small passionate studio, what they're going to be doing this with this work of art. I'm genuinely excited to see where it goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video there. I do want to watch this Claire Obscure Expedition 33 video. We're gonna watch this in the next video. I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a blessed day. Peace out.